Today, we'll be hosting our School in Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts webinar, where you will learn a little bit more about what SHA has to offer. You'll hear directly from our staff and get an overview of the different majors and opportunities available to you. Throughout this webinar, you're welcome to submit your questions using the Q&A feature on Zoom. So feel free to send them in at any time, and we'll set aside the time at the end to answer as many questions as we can. So thank you again for being here, and let's go ahead and get started.
Great. Thank you, Marcini. And hi, everyone. So my name is Leo Arriola. I'm the Dean of the School of Social Sciences, Humanities and Arts, which we call SHA. And I'm delighted to introduce you to our world-class academic programs. SHA is UC Merced's largest school. About half of every class that graduates from UC Merced comes from SHA. So we're educating the largest population of students on our campus. Now, part of that is simply due to the fact that we offer the most diverse range of academic options for students. We have 22 majors and more than 20 specialized emphases tracks, so students can pursue and tailor their preferred academic and professional interests. Now, these academic programs are all led by professors who are devoted teachers and award-winning researchers, and you'll meet some of them today. So with that, let me tell you a little bit more about SHA. While we have a diverse set of academic options, there is something very concrete at the core of what we offer students. And to put it simply, we are the people school. Our many disciplines may look different on paper, but they share a common commitment, and that's understanding human behavior, human systems, and human creativity. SHA is where UC Merced students go to understand people and prepare to lead them, for them to lead in a changing society. Now, that is probably more important today than ever before. As our society is affected by technological disruption, political polarization, and economic challenges, among many others, providing students the skills for understanding people will be increasingly important for their success as they go on to pursue their professional careers. And that's what we're here to do at SHA, to prepare students to achieve their academic and professional goals. Now, let me tell you about how we do that. And we can think of SHA's academic programs as falling under 4 domains of the human experience. These are not departments, they are ways of asking fundamental questions about the human experience. How does the human mind function? What drives human decision-making? Or what makes a society? What makes for a functional society? How do communities form, organize, adapt, and improve to the many challenges that they're facing? How do we understand human creativity? How are ideas, identities, and cultures shared, and how do they change? And how do we govern ourselves? How are collective decisions made, and what are their consequences? And so together, these are the domains that form the intellectual architecture of SHA, and this is what our students are being exposed to. Now, this architecture organizes the distinct analytical tools that our professors, that our faculty apply in their own research and that they go on to teach to our students. And what makes SHA distinctive is not just that we cover these essential domains of human life, it's that we also cross them. Some of the most exciting research that we're doing on this campus and that we're teaching and bringing students into happens to come from the fact that our students and our faculty are crossing these boundaries that you're seeing on this slide here. And that's how we're exploring new frontiers of knowledge. I can give you the example of the political science professor who draws on insights from psychology to better understand why and how political polarization affects voter behavior. Or we can also think about the professor of Spanish linguistics who draws on insights from public health to better understand how cancer survivors navigate the challenges of the healthcare system. This is how new ideas emerge at the intersection of disciplines, and where understanding people becomes the key to addressing society's most complex problems. But what you're going to do here, what our students are exposed to at Shaw, is more than just their major. What I think makes Shaw special for students is that so much of what we do, so much of what they learn is designed to support their success outside of the classroom. But first, let me start with one of the key facts of our classrooms. Unlike many other large research universities, most of our students will be in small classes. 60% of our classes are designed to have 30 or fewer students. So our students can't be anonymous to the professor. They will know your name. And that's a good thing, right? You will see them across campus. They will call you out by name and say, "Hey, how are you? How are you doing? Let's talk about, what you're learning in the classroom." That's the kind of social relationships that are built and reinforce what our students are learning in the classroom. The other special aspect of what Shaw offers as an education is that many of our students have the opportunity to directly work with our faculty and research. Several of our professors create opportunities for undergraduate students to become involved in their labs or in their community projects. And that's so unique. That's the kind of experience that at many research universities either do not exist because those are opportunities that are limited to graduate students, or they're just not offered. And here on our campus, I have to say that in the entire UC system, we have one of the highest rates of undergraduate students working with faculty and research. And finally, I want to highlight that students in Shaw also participate in honors and other pre-health pathways across majors that will complement what they're learning in their own majors. So for example, if you're interested in pursuing a health career down the line, not only can you major in public health, but you can major in cognitive science, or you can major in anthropology and still pursue advanced training after graduation in health, in advanced health programs. I know I've said a lot, so I'm gonna pause here for a second to see if there are any questions that we want to bring out from the folks who are joining us. And so I'm going to ask either our Assistant Dean, Megan. Megan Topete is our Assistant Dean for Academic Advising and Student Services. So I do see in our Q&A there, I just saw somebody. So for first year classes, what is the percent of classes that are smaller than 30 students? That's a great question. I know the aggregate number. What I gave you was an aggregate number for all of our classes. But one of the things I will tell you specifically for our writing classes, so every first year student has to take first year writing composition. All of those classes actually have either 22 students or just 20 students actually. So that's one of the most important experiences you're going to have in your first semester. And those classes are actually, as I said, 20 students on average. I know there are other questions coming up, and some of my colleagues here are going to start answering those questions in the chat, in the Q&A. For now, I'm going to segue and I'm going to introduce Professor Jinna Kim, who is one of our newest faculty members on this campus, who's come here specifically to help us build our new communications and media majors. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Professor Kim.
Thank you so much, Dean Ariola, and welcome everyone. My name is Jenna Kim, and I'm a professor in communication and media, and I'm a first-generation college student, and college changed my life. UC Merced is filled with warm and brilliant professors who care about you, and I hope that I see many of you at UC Merced next year who choose to come and work with us. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what it would be like if you were a common media student. So some of my favorite classes to teach are communication and media technology, popular culture, and media and memory. And they all connect in really interesting ways that might give you a good sense of what our major is about. So in communication and media technology, we look at processes like social media, AI, and digital platforms and see how these phenomena shape how we communicate and even how we think. So in the class, I ask questions like, why do certain things go viral? Who controls what we see online? And how is technology shaping our everyday lives? In the popular culture class, we take things that you might already be engaging with, like music, film, TikTok, memes, and we break them down and analyze them to understand what they're saying about identity, power, race, gender, and other categories. And I find that students usually love this class because you get to bring in your own examples and really lead the conversation. And then another class that I really love to teach is related to my own research. It's on media and memory. And we look at how media shapes how we remember the past. We get to ask questions like whose stories get told, whose stories get left out, and how does that shape what we think history even is? So I hope that these classes might help you understand that studying communication and media is about understanding how media and communication technology are fundamental to processes and systems that connect people, institutions, and technologies. And then in terms of the things that we do to keep you engaged and to prepare you for the world, all of our faculty are actively involved in research. I think you'll hear that from all the faculty who talk to you about our major. And we're always looking for students to work with us as research assistants. So that means helping with projects, co-authoring papers, or presenting at conferences. And these are really amazing experiences as an undergrad. As the dean mentioned, you don't really get that in a lot of other places. And then finally, we're also building more internship and community engaged opportunities. For example, the McClatchy Foundation, which some of you may have heard about, it has deep roots in the Central Valley and is one of the oldest newspaper organizations, has supported communication and media, and we're working with them to connect UC Merced students with hands-on opportunities and job opportunities in journalism, media, and public relations, locally in the Central Valley and more broadly in California. So if you're curious about media, culture, or social issues, I hope that you choose to come to UC Merced and major in communication and media.
Great. Thank you so much, Professor Kim. Now let me introduce you to Professor Justin Hicks, who's from our Economics and Business Management department, and they're introducing quite a few new programs. And so over to you, Professor Hicks.
Thank you, Dean Ariola. I am Justin Hicks. I'm faculty in management, business, and economics. And yeah, we are excited. We have a new business administration degree coming on board, as well as accounting, as well as our existing majors, management and business economics, as well as economics. We have a plethora of different options, Bachelor of Arts, as well as Bachelor of Science. But all of our majors really focus on, preparing you for the job market, and or a research path into graduate school. And that kind of brings in some of the classes that I've taught. I've taught from freshman seminar all the way through graduate courses and research methods. Some of my favorites are actually Intro to Business and Finance, which is a freshman course where you get to learn personal finance as well as kind of the entrepreneurial process, how to get a business startup actually launched, those types of things. And then I teach core theory as well as analytics. So I really do a lot of courses, and if you end up in one of our majors, I hope that I get to see you in class. Something that's interesting is that, as the dean had mentioned, we have a lot of research opportunities. So for instance, right now, I actually have 2 students who are assisting me in mapping firms geographically, and then actually determining whether or not they've been impacted by natural disasters over the last 40 years for a research project that I'm working on. But I've had over 24 students that have actually pursued their own individual research agendas, ranging from politics and crime, to education and gender, and a large array of different things. And many of them have actually had the opportunity to actually get published in our undergraduate research journal. And I saw someone had asked, are there internships available for econ majors? And generally, it's not something that you're going to do during your first year or two. You really have to get some of your statistics under your belt so that you can, work with data. But many students work with our faculty as well as our different contacts here in the Central Valley, professionally with companies like Gallo or Foster Farms and wonderful company, some of the companies you may have heard of. So we really have a wide array of programs available, but again, we are really excited about bringing accounting on board. This is a new program. We will be the first undergraduate accounting program in the UC system that is AB 1175 aligned, which means that you don't actually have to go get a master's degree to get your CPA. And that's pretty exciting. So a lot of different opportunities for you. Feel free to reach out to me personally at my email. You can find me on the Econ website. I know because I built it. But yeah, I think that you'll have contact information available to you. And again, feel free to use the Q&A, and I'm going to hop in there after this moment. So thanks again, Dean Ariola, for having the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Professor Hicks. Now let me introduce you all to Professor Heather Bortfeld. She is a professor of psychology and cognitive science, and she designed our newest program for neuroscience. And so, Professor Bortfeld.
Great. Thank you, Dean Ariola. Hi, my name is Heather Bortfeld. I'm a professor of psychology and of cognitive and information sciences. I would describe myself as a developmental cognitive neuroscientist, which I realize is a mouthful. And that really highlights the interdisciplinary nature of the research I do and the courses I teach. So, the research is really focused on early cognitive and neural mechanisms that underlie language acquisition and auditory processing. So you can imagine the work that I support in my lab has a lot of relevance to school readiness and health applications with hearing specific needs, like if you get tubes in your ears as a young child, does that impact auditory processing in the classroom? What about in noisy environments, that sort of thing? So I use interdisciplinary approaches. I combine behavioral methods with developmental science theory and neuroscience informed frameworks. And so we have a lot of technology in our labs. And what has been really exciting, as the dean mentioned, is that after being in psychology, straddling psychology and cognitive science my entire career, I was able to get a neuroscience major off the ground here at UC Merced, which is huge. And I've talked to friends and colleagues at other University of California campuses who have said they weren't able to get that to happen because it is, people can be territorial about their respective corner of the research world. So I think fewer than half the campuses in the UC system have a neuroscience major. So I'm super excited to be bringing this to the students. I teach the Introduction to Neuroscience class that first year neuroscience majors take. This is a hugely interdisciplinary program. You can get a BS or a BA. You can follow a pre-med track, and you can pick emphasis lines, which include cognitive neuroscience, which is my domain, molecular cellular biology, and computational neuroscience are three of the emphasis lines. We also have a health and human development emphasis line, which integrates with the public health and health psychology groups here on campus. And given that I'm from the developmental group in psychology, all of the work has a component of child brain and behavior to it. And so obviously that's a domain that a lot of students are very interested in. And it's really important to get that kind of training. So that's right now my favorite course to teach is Introduction to Neuroscience. I also teach developmental psychology in the psychology department, and developmental cognitive neuroscience is an upper division course that I get to teach. Sometimes it's really fun, but I'm usually teaching bigger courses than that. In terms of lab projects going on currently, we're actively looking, my colleagues and I are looking at how the brain processes speech and sound, particularly how attention is allocated in real world noisy environments. And we measure both behavior and brain responsivity using near-infrared spectroscopy and electroencephalography, both together and separately, depending on the study. What's exciting is students in the lab get to learn this hands-on how to collect these data. And these are skills that can translate into all sorts of applications professionally. So obviously, sleep studies are heavily reliant on electroencephalography, EEG. And if any of you have ever had a sleep study done, you know that the data are complex that come from these nets on your head while you're sleeping in a clinic. And so a lot of the work that the students are doing in the lab translate to future jobs they might be interested in. We also have a strong support network for helping people apply to graduate programs and professional schools. And ultimately, this is really focused on community engaged research partnerships with local families, schools, and community organizations in the Central Valley. We work with the Office of Education in Merced County and the Behavioral Health and Research Services program that is part of that, and trying to really get more clinical training off the ground for students through internships. So that's what I do, bringing development and neuroscience research to the Central Valley and to you all. So very grateful to have you here tonight. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Professor Bortfeld. Now, let me introduce you to our next faculty member, who is Professor Dalia Magaña, who is from the Department of Literatures, Languages, and Cultures.
Thank you so much, Dean. And hi, everyone. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to speak to you because I was once in your shoes. That was a long time ago, over 20 years ago, when I joined the UC family as an undergrad in the Central Valley. I went to UC Davis because UC Merced was not available to me. And that decision opened countless doors. I studied abroad. I was involved in research that mattered to me. And ultimately, that experience prepared me for a career as a professor, and I've never looked back. Like Professor Kim, I am also first gen. I'm the daughter of an immigrant mother from rural Mexico, and she didn't have the opportunity to pursue a formal education herself, but she dreamed of something better for me and my brothers. And I'm deeply thankful for the chance to fulfill that dream and now to get to support students like you in doing the same. I earned my degrees at UC Davis, Spanish and linguistics, and now I'm a proud faculty member here at UC Merced. My favorite class, well, right now I'm teaching Spanish in the US. And in that class, we talk about why bilinguals code switch, why they speak Spanglish, the different varieties of Spanish. For example, we covered Puerto Rican Spanish and we dedicated 2 classes to talking about Bad Bunny and his halftime performance, why it was symbolic, how it was received, why language matters, and it mattered significantly. And our students brought in so much knowledge. We view them as knowledge producers. Most of our students are bilinguals, or they grew up in bilingual communities, so they have deep knowledge of Latino culture. For that class, Spanish in the US, right now, students are completing a project where they examine English and Spanish in public spaces. They choose a location, they take photos, and they critically analyze, do these public businesses reflect the communities that they serve? And the sad reality is that we still have a lot of work to do. Students pair our major with psychology, that's probably the most popular one, but also with public health, biology, business management, econ, political science. So we are ready to support students in double majoring. We're also currently developing two certificates that should be available to you. One is Spanish for healthcare professionals, and one is Spanish for educators. And we want to support students to use their language, their cultural skills in the profession that they choose. And this has been repeated, but it's worth repeating again. The small classes really do mean personalized attention. We get to know our students by name, and we don't forget about our students. Beyond graduation, we're still writing letters of recommendation. We're still in touch. We're still mentoring them because we remember them. I recently had a student who graduated 10 years ago, and she's like, "Do you remember me?" And yes, I did. She was from one of my very first classes, and I wrote her a letter of recommendation, and of course, I remembered her. So that's the kind of experience students have here. No one gets lost in the crowd. We notice when students are not around. We check in, we care. Recently, one student was like, I really like Spanish classes because they are not just about Spanish, they really do reflect Latino culture, where we're looking out for the group. It's not individualistic. And we greet each other and we laugh and we try to build confianza and personalismo. The students are very proud of their Spanish and Latino culture, and they lead clubs like Club de Español. They have a great time in that club, I hear. We also have Ballet Folklórico. There's a photo of the students, and they're actually going to have their performance April 25th. So if you're here the weekend after Bobcat Day, go check them out at the Merced Theater. I'm very proud that they chose me as their MC this year, so I'll see you there if you go. Yeah, for me, teaching is the best part of my job. I love students' energy, resilience, and their growth, and that's what inspires me every day. As a professor, we also do research. My research is focused on amplifying the voices of underserved people of silence community, and that's why I focus on Spanish-speaking Latinos. So we try to understand the barriers that they face in healthcare, and we do that through community partnerships. And I make sure that that community partnership is mutually beneficial for us as researchers, but for the nonprofit as well, and for the people that we serve. When we interview people about their experiences in healthcare, we don't just learn about their experiences. Those people also gain access to resources of my community partners, in this case, Healthy House, for example, housing support, food deliveries, how to apply for health insurance, all sorts of things that they do. And they're a very small community-based organization here in town. And through the UROC program, Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program, I've mentored many students. For example, we've conducted interviews, we've transcribed them, we've reviewed literature on cultural linguistic barriers in healthcare. And then students have written about this and presented their findings. Through that program, students work with a supportive cohort and they gain mentorship both through the program and then through their faculty who's their mentor. And their findings matter. That project that we did with students, it showed that many Latinos here in the Central Valley are feeling like their appointments are rushed and they need more time because they need an interpreter. So they need double the amount of time, but they don't get that. They're still getting the 15 minutes. And when that happens, there's miscommunication and inadequate interpretation. And they also feel that if providers don't say hi to them, are not friendly, that they're not on their side. And that's an easy fix. So what participants are telling us is that they want friendlier, more attentive services. They want more Spanish-speaking providers, and they want more time with their providers. So people have answers if we listen to them. So my research program gives them that platform. As you can see, our research is very interdisciplinary. In this case, the humanities have a role in understanding people's healthcare experiences and in developing solutions to improve healthcare for all. Last summer, I worked with a student, a STAR student in both public health and Spanish. She received a summer stipend to work through this program and collaborated with me and my community partners, and we collected breast cancer stories. And right now we're developing materials to prepare healthcare providers based on those stories. And this student graduated with honors, and she's completing an MPH at UC Irvine, and I'm still in touch with her. So my passion for undergrad research is personal. When I was an undergrad, a program like UROC played a crucial role in helping me prepare for grad school and ultimately in becoming a professor. So I'm proud to mentor students in the same way, to help them build confidence, to find their voice, to pursue their goals. And then beyond traditional research, we also offer community engaged opportunities. For example, through the partnership with Healthy House, we've had a group of students participate in interpreter training, and that was free for them. And those who completed it received a certificate in medical interpreting, which not only expanded their career opportunities, but also allowed them to serve our community in meaningful ways. So if you're interested in the Spanish major or getting involved in community engaged research, I'd love to connect to you. Thank you for this opportunity, Dean Arriola.
Thank you so much, Professor Magaña. And I want to underscore something that Professor Magaña said, which is, I hope came across, and I think came across from all of our faculty who've spoken today, which is they all have a passion for teaching. That is the thing that unites us here at UC Merced, that serving our students, helping first generation students succeed, introducing students to research, that is what unites all of our academic programs, because they are all serving the same mission, which is helping our students succeed. So with that, let me come back to Megan. And Megan, I think there are a couple of questions we want to throw out to our faculty.
Yeah, if that's okay, we've got a couple. Um, Dr. Bortfeld, if I could call on you, we have some questions about the psychology program. What is it like, and what types of internships and programs are offered throughout that particular BA and BS?
Great. Yes, I know quite a lot about that. So the program is one of the larger majors in SHA in the school. We have emphases in quantitative psychology in particular. We're just starting a child development and family studies emphasis or minor. We have health and social psychology also as an emphasis area. And then, there are all the core courses that you'd expect from a psychology degree. In terms of internships, this is something I've been involved with for several years now. Getting clinical courses sufficient to address the needs for undergrads to get the coursework if they want to go on and do like an MFA or any kind of master's in counseling. We're just working on getting those courses available now. We also have an internship I mentioned with Behavioral Health Recovery Services in Merced County, and that is an internship based class where you meet with your professor who's a trained clinician once a week, and then you have a certain number of hours that you go out in the field. And our students in that group have worked with people dealing with substance abuse, like checking in, and also unhoused individuals in the area, and they're working with professionals at the Behavioral Health Recovery Services as they're learning about those interventions. So that's a new internship program, relatively new internship program, and the child and family minor is also going to have internship opportunities in the Early Childhood Education Center on campus, which is a lab-based school that supports faculty and student, both graduate and undergraduate student childcare needs. And so this is something that my colleague Eric Wally and Alexandra Main have been working on for some time, and it's a really exciting opportunity for students when this gets going. It's in the process of being approved now, and we anticipate it'll roll out very soon, where students go and work in the center and get hands-on experience with young children, which is a critical part of being able to work in the childcare domain. Actually, you need a fair number of hours having contact time with children, and that's something that we heard from students who were going through the program, that they really wanted the opportunity to do that, and so we've been working to develop that. We also have a relationship that I'm just starting to formalize with Girl Scouts of California. It's based in Sacramento, and they're starting. I mean, I was a brownie, but apparently, the Girl Scouts thing is very challenging for some parents, because it was always about, and I remember that, my mom having to get out of work and take me to the brownies meetings once a month. Well, so what Girl Scouts of America is doing, is they're implementing programs that are after school, and they're basically including child development trained undergraduates as what they call, so they're not troop leaders, they're facilitators. And they just hired 2 of our undergraduates to help with the launch program here in Merced. We're super excited about it. And this is, we're working up a more formal internship program for students to be able to engage with this. And they basically learn how to present the formal program that the Girl Scouts has approved for every meeting. So it's really an exciting time. Lots of need across the board. And, psychology is a huge field, very diverse. So you heard me talking about brain and behavior. There's clinical, there's health is a huge component. And Dahlia, actually, her description of the breast cancer interviews, we have a fair number of health psychologists who work in that domain. So there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. And I believe we're going to have a BS available, if we don't already have it approved and on the books, in the coming year. So definitely a BA and a BS, in the works. So thanks for the question.
Megan, is there another question? I think there's a question for Professor Hicks. Do you want to-
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Professor Hicks, we have a transfer student / parent, and they would like to know what a realistic timeline is when seeking a CPA license.
That is interesting. So the law actually recently changed here in California. It used to be that you had to accumulate 150 units in order to be able to sit for the CPA exam. That is no longer the case. Rather, there are a specific number of courses in business, in accounting and ethics that you have to complete in order to apply and become a candidate for the CPA and take the exam. But you only need an undergraduate degree. But that said, you do have to have 2 years of work experience to become fully licensed. So there's multiple steps to how that works. You take the exam, you pass the exam, you get the undergraduate degree, but then you do need 2 years of work experience to become fully licensed as a CPA. So as far as time to degree, we definitely have it set up so that transfer students can become, immediately successful in, getting their accounting degrees. But you do have to pay attention to those other aspects. It is a professional degree, so you have to meet those requirements as you get ready to, launch that career. But hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, we are excited. This upcoming fall will be the first official accounting cohort. So yeah, we're really excited about the opportunity for our students. If you have any other questions like that, throw them in the Q&A, and I'll try and jump on that.
Thank you.
So Megan, you stay online, because now why don't we segue to you, so that you can tell folks more about academic advising.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I know there's a couple more questions that you all have. Please keep putting them in there. And if there's time at the end, we will be sure to answer them and continue talking with our faculty. This is a great opportunity with them. So my name is Megan Topete. I am the Assistant Dean for Student and Instructional Services in our school. What that means is that I get to support the staff and the faculty who support the students who are at UC Merced. It does also include me supporting students in more indirect way, but I still get to have some access, which makes me really exciting. And so the reason why I'm here is because academic advising and the academic advising office is one of the units that I do support, and I get to work with all of those folks who would be working with you if you do choose to come to UC Merced. So similar to other folks and faculty on this call, I'm also first generation, and I also went to a sister UC campus because UC Merced wasn't available yet. Um, I have spent almost 18 years at UC Merced, and though our campus hasn't been here as long as other campuses, it still has a really rich history. And what you'll find at UC Merced is there's a lot of folks with exactly what others have said already, tons of passion for being here. And sometimes that passion is translated in the number of years that we've been here. I have been fortunate enough to be working in both student services and instructional services my entire career. And so I've built my time here and have learned a lot from students like you and first generation students that we have a really strong commitment and passion to. The QR code that you find on the screen in front of you is going to take you to that little map, the student success map. We'd like for you to take a picture of that and go to that to see what your 4 years at UC Merced might look like if you are a SHA student. You'll notice that it outlines requirements and different opportunities that should be covered in each of those 4 years. There's some requirements for meetings with your academic advisor, which we highly, highly recommend and is very critical to the success of our students. You may meet with academic advisors either in appointments, walk-ins. We also have peer navigators who are peer-to-peer student employees who provide support to students as well. We do recognize that sometimes it can be difficult to meet with a professional or somebody who we're not quite sure about, which is why we created a peer navigator program. And so in our school, we have 10 student employees that we have running our reception area and who also can meet with students, second to fourth year students, in order to help them out, answer quick questions, and really just get some peer-to-peer support when it comes down to it. The top 3 reasons that we find students come see academic advising, and some of you may have put some of these questions in chat already, but when can I graduate? And what courses can I take in order to get there, right? I know from my experience going to academic advising in my undergrad, I actually found out that I needed to take an additional course. And when I thought I was going to graduate, I wouldn't have been able to had I not met with an academic advisor. And so it's really critical that whatever campus you attend, but specifically at UC Merced, you're going to find that you'll be getting the support that you need to make sure that you are progressing in your major in the timeline that you choose. The second one is, can I double major? You heard that before. Spanish and psychology, business administration with a writing minor, and so on and so forth. Our school has a vast amount of majors and minors, and we highly recommend that students take advantage of that opportunity as they're working through their general education to specifically choose different majors and minors that they are very interested in. The third is, and again, we've heard a lot about this today, which is so great to have our faculty on the screen. What special programs can I participate in? This includes UC-DC, so that's our UC students going to Washington, D.C., UC Sacramento, same thing, UC Merced students potentially going to our UC Sacramento program. We find that a lot of our political science students are interested in doing this, but it actually can be any major. And that's something that we really try to stress with our students, is that you don't have to be in a specific major in order to do specific programs. You can be really interested in politics, but be a writing major or be a psychology major. It can just supplement the work that you're doing and strengthen and build your resume. Another is study abroad. Again, you can be part of any type of program as long as you meet the requirements for it. We have a university honors program, but we also have honors within certain majors as well. And so that's also very important for you to connect with your academic advisors when it comes to that. And then, of course, faculty research and internships, which brings me to the next slide. We'd like to stress that there are a lot of opportunities for career exploration and development, not only in our school, but at UC Merced. The peer navigators that I mentioned earlier are who serve as your peer-to-peer advisors. They are set up to have at least one workshop every few weeks that we offer for all students to attend. Another thing about UC Merced is SHA can offer workshops and other students can come to them because, of course, we want you to come and explore our majors and have conversations and be able to have the resources that you need to be successful in graduating. Our peer navigators put on these workshops, but many offices on campus also put on workshops like these. And what you're seeing on the screen here, careers with SHA degrees, career and internship fairs, our school and our academic advisors, and even like our events coordinators, our associate dean, myself, Dean Ariola, we all are connecting with other offices in order to have opportunities available for you as students. And so once a semester, we have a careers with SHA degrees where we invite all students to come and have the opportunity to hear from folks in the community who have been UC Merced graduates among different careers. And then afterwards, have an opportunity to sit around, have a snack and ask questions of faculty, academic advisors, and other peers who are going through the same types of majors. One other item I'd like to highlight is our Transfer and Returning Veterans Center. Again, we have all types of students on campus, and we like to make sure that there are opportunities for connection points. We have 2 specific academic advisors in our office who are focused on reentry students, and we have a specific academic advisor focused on transfer students. And we try really hard to have opportunities for connection that's not just about the critical items of choosing your courses, but also de-stressing, learning how to study, and have different opportunities really just to hang out and figure out, where you belong in the community at UC Merced. And we really want that for you all, and we really want that in connection to our academic advisors. So that in sum, there are a lot of opportunities on campus to connect and participate, and the faculty that you've heard from before are also really, really great place to start with that too. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Megan. And actually, that's the perfect transition so that we can talk a little bit more about what our students go on to do. And so here I'm just sharing some data that I've been working with based on SHA alumni. And what I'm happy to report here is that SHA degrees open doors across the economy. Nearly a third of our alumni are working in education as teachers, academic advisors, and counselors and administrators. Over a quarter of our alumni are in the business sector. And the fact that so many of our alumni are pursuing work in the nonprofit sector, so they're working with community organizations, social organizations, but also in government, I think underscores the public service ethos that so many of our students bring to UC Merced. So overall, what you're seeing here is a healthy balance between public service and private sector engagement. This career diversity is a strength for our students, especially in uncertain economic times. And I think what you're seeing here is that our students aren't being trained for one job, they're being trained for a lifetime of professional adaptation. One more note I would give you here is that I've dug into the actual job titles that many of our alumni have, because a test of what is it that are our majors actually training our students for the careers that they want. And so just to give you an idea about this, I'll take 2 of our most popular majors. So psychology is our largest major on campus. And when you look at the most common or frequent job titles among our alumni, they are exactly what you would expect from psychology majors: behavioral therapist, counselor, social worker. And some of the most common employers that we see are county departments of education and organizations that provide services for autism, for foster care services. These are the kinds of organizations that, yes, you would expect psychology majors to want to work with. The other most popular, one of the other popular majors we have is management and business economics. And the most frequent or common job titles that we see among those alumni are project manager, analyst, financial representative, and those employers tend to be Amazon, Vanguard, LinkedIn. So those are the kinds of career options and opportunities that many of our alumni are pursuing. The final test, though, that we can directly more measure outcomes is with salaries. So the data, I think, make clear that SHA graduates, especially here in the Central Valley, can earn a salary premium from their degree. So here what I'm showing you here are salary data 10 years after graduation for our majors compared to the majors from other institutions or universities here in the Central Valley. And what you see, there is a premium. So our alumni, first SHA majors, they earn between $5,000 and $10,000 more per year, every year, compared to their peers at other comparable regional universities here in the Central Valley. So here, again, I'm comparing apples to apples because I'm focusing only on alumni for majors I have here in SHA compared to the same majors at these other universities. So this pattern in the data reflects a real return on investment that students themselves recognize. In fact, when we survey our students, our alumni, over 80% of SHA alumni say that their education was worth the financial cost to them and their families. And that's one of the highest rates across the UC system. So here in SHA, I think we're delivering both intellectual growth and financial return. So I'm going to stop here because I actually want to give a little time for you to hear more directly from our students. And I'm going to stop sharing because I want to invite in our students, Harrison Riley and Maya Starr. And so, Harrison, do you want to join us, and Maya?
Yeah, no problem. I can talk for a bit there. Thank you, Leo. My name's Harrison Riley. I'm a student here at UC Merced. I'm also a worker, so I'm a student ambassador. I help with the admissions office. I go to different meetings and presentations. I help students one-on-one sessions as well as groups. Same with Maya. And we're here today to try and help out. So what will happen is I'll let Maya also introduce herself. And then we'll go into any questions you guys have. So just to talk a little bit about me there. I'm a third year, currently studying economics with an emphasis in analysis and policy. On top of that, I'm also the president and founder of Lake Yosemite club here on campus. I host recreational activities at the lake. I'm also the vice president of Statistics Club. So if you guys have questions about any clubs, as well as economics or anything in general about life, feel free to ask me. And I'll let Maya also introduce herself here.
Hello, my name is Maya. I'm a fourth year writing study major. I also do have experience in GASP as well as all around in Shaw in that little section. Some things I'm a part of on campus is UC Merced Cat Watch, which is a community where we help the overpopulation of cats in the area, as well as editor-in-chief of the undergraduate research journal for both fall and spring this year, as well as I'm a standing representative for Vernal Pool. So if you're interested in both research and creative writing journals, we do have both.
Really related to creating own clubs, how does the school support students who want to start their own club or initiative?
That's a great question. So there is a lot of support. I actually started the club my freshman year. So I started it in the spring after my fall. It's taken a bit of time to actually find some people with similar interests as me, want the whole stuff at the lake, get out, do some recreational activities as well as community cleanup events. Pair the support, it's really easy. There's the Office of Student Involvement, we call it OSI. I talked to them, I mentioned to them that I wanted to start a club, and they showed me where it was, how to do it, as well as do the application process. So with a club, you need at least 3 other members to consist 4 people in a club, and you need 1 professor to vouch for your club as well. Other than that, you make your own kind of declaration, as well as kind of some rules and laws that your club will abide to. Throughout your years, you can also eventually receive funding, which can also help with your club as well. So I like to try and get some resources to host kind of lake barbecues, stuff like that. I also have some equipment such as frisbees, soccer balls, basketballs that are all used at the lake.
How easy is it to balance academics with student organizations?
In general, with both, the main thing's just time management. I like to write down the events I go to, Google Docs, everything, even just in general, calendars are your best friend in college, I promise you that. That's just what keeps me organized and going. Let Maya answer this one.
Yeah, just reiterating what has been said, like organization is going to be your best friend when it comes to college because you have to remember you don't have someone to drive you to school, like to high school. You do it yourself and you do everything yourself. So making sure that you are staying on top of everything and remembering deadlines is going to be really important. And just making sure you're taking care of yourself also during that time is what's really going to help you be successful.
All right, for both of you, thinking back on your freshman year, what are some of the most popular ways freshmen get involved on campus?
Yeah, thinking back to freshman year, I think it was just being like going to any campus event, whether it be a movie with friends or just meeting new people. The first week of campus is going to be tons of events going on. So you're constantly going to be interacting with new people. There's constantly going to be new hangouts. I know we have a, I think it's called like our Lollapalooza, which is where we have a whole bunch of like jumper houses that come out. And it's just a really fun time for you to get to know each other. And I would also say work opportunities. I feel like I've grown the most from being an ambassador and from coming in my second year. And it's something that I think really helps you grow as a person and kind of see where your career can go professionally after college. There's just so much to do on campus and so much to be a part of.
Yeah, on campus, there's a lot of events to go on. I promise there's a lot, and you'll probably miss most of them. I know there's a busy schedule, and there's a lot of things that go on across the board. The two things I always suggest to any students I talk to is one, join a club, because you can always find something that you have as an interest, such as a hobby. For me, it was playing guitar. I got to play with some other people. And then the other one's a study group. You'd be surprised, but most people in your freshman classes, you will meet again. You will have later classes, and it's good to know some people as well as have people with a similar interest as you in the future.
It's a great point. And one thing I might add, and maybe I'll ask Brenda or Megan, whenever you could add the living learning communities, if we can add a link to that so folks can explore that. And these are basically through housing. It's for students who share interests to be able to live together in the same place. And so I think there's a link to that we can add so folks can see the range. There are things for transfer students, for students in, international students and so on. And so there are quite a few options there that students can explore.
Any final thoughts you have, Harrison or Maya, you want to share with the group?
In general, guys, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. Maya and I can both provide our emails in the chat. Feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to answer any questions. It's pretty much our job to, try and assist you guys in any way we can. We can set up Zoom meetings as well, 30 minutes longer, do one-on-ones with you. We're happy to help and just be here in general.
Thank you so much, Harrison, Maya. Thank you, Megan, too. And thank you to our faculty and to my colleagues. Thank you, all of you, for joining us. I hope you saw that we are very much interested in welcoming you to UC Merced. We want to be part of your educational journey here. You will be supported and you will succeed here. So thank you, everyone. Take care and look for the video online.